Hello and welcome to episode 29 of our Timberborn Update 7 Emberpelts playthrough, cycle 55, day 13. Got a bad tide coming in just a little bit under half a day here. And I gotta say, this part of the map here is looking pretty good. I really like how these trees are laid out. I think this was a fantastic idea. And I hope I can remember to do similar things in other playthroughs and, I don't know, maybe some other parts of this map if I can find the time before we're all wrapped up. But very, very happy with this, so thank you to everybody who suggested we do something a little bit more aesthetically minded with this area instead of just, you know, cramming a whole bunch of stuff in place. There's still other things to do, and there's always something to do. But we also have this area over here that some of you like, some of you don't like, but I'm not going to, you know, get rid of it. We've got tanks, we've got food, we've got beaver storage, we've got tubeway accessibility. We don't have much of anything else here. And I don't know how reasonable it would be to get too much else put in terms of landscaping or irrigation. But who knows? We do have bad water diversions for all of these things actually set up properly now. So we should have absolutely no problems. All of the bad water will just go off the edge of the map. Or in the case of this one right here, through this whole mess, and then off the edge of the map with everything else. Oh, hey, here's a lot of water in here for no reason. Does that actually connect to anything? Oh no, that's not no reason. That's because this was... Oh boy, I need to get more sleep. Didn't you just have a vacation? Well, not really. Anyway, I think what probably needs to happen here is I should take this tubeway out and go ahead and put this in with a tubeway levee, not tubeway levee tunnel. There we go. Yeah, just so we, you know, stop getting stuff in these holes. But, point being, we've done a whole lot of stuff in the past, I don't know, 5, 10 episodes to try and divert bad water off of the map. And to my knowledge, we should have basically everything taken care of. But I don't remember because it's been a long time. It's been almost a month in real life since the last time I actually sat down to record one of these episodes with the intent of adding bad water diversion. So we're going to find out in just a little bit how much of this is and is not actually taken care of. We've all this clean, nice blue water over here held in place. Didn't quite fill up our whole storage here, which I guess is probably okay. That's what we wanted this to look like at the end anyway. But now it's bad tide time, so let's take a look and see what is going to be spewing forth filth. We see bad water coming off the edge here. See bad water coming off the edge here. Here, 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 here. Down here, up here. That's not anything. That's got clean water coming out of here. Why is... Ah, okay, that's our drain thing for the rest of this. And you know, I don't see any bad water anywhere else. Oh, never mind. There definitely is. There definitely is, because this doesn't have enough edges, I guess, even though it's the edge of the map. But oh no, it works. It works. It's just really, really full. Alright, well, seeing how the entire rest of the map is totally fine, that actually makes this substantially better. Tell you what we can do. If I can figure out a way to get this covered up so it is just completely taken care of, then I think we're going to be in good shape. I do not want beavers to be going down into this. So I do need to make sure this is disconnected. And there is no other way for them to get down into here. That's cut off. Just to be absolutely certain. Yes, that is cut off. Alright, and we do have, you know, pollution up here because, of course, we do. There's nasty under there. Yeah, that's just unfortunate that's going to be in that spot, but I think we can learn to live with that. So assuming nothing else horribly bad is going to occur, I can stick platforms on top of here and just cover this up with some of these impermeable floors. That just seems like the best option here. It'll keep stuff from coming up. It may restrict the flow just a tiny bit, and I don't know, there's probably at least a few of you who would consider that to be cheating. But I think we are going to be okay. As long as nobody gets in here, I should be able to just get this all the way down one side so they can access it. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to, you know, combine solving this problem with not having to wait a super long time for it to be done. I'll just time-lapse this. Shouldn't take very long. And we'll get through probably a decent bit more of this bad tide, depending on how long it takes these guys to stick this stuff on there. But I'll talk to you in just a little bit. Alright, so they finished that maybe a little bit faster than I figured they would. And this, ideally, should prevent this from ever happening again, and then permanently for the rest of this playthrough solve our issues with bad water. So let's very carefully remove the pathway. Make sure I don't delete any of the actual blocks here. Just take this out here. And while we're here, we can clean up these tubeways that we are absolutely not going to need anymore. And I'm pretty sure this doesn't connect to anything. Correct. It does not. That goes down into this cavern. We have nothing else going on. And there was a thing... Oh, man. I don't even know how many of you are going to remember this, but there was a couple of comments, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 episodes ago, asking for, you know, something to be done in the cavern. To make like a beaver rave cave kind of thing. Well, there's no lighting that I could really put in outside of, I guess, lanterns, but I don't know that those are going to create the kind of effect people might be asking for. But recognizing that there is, you know, space in here that we could fill up, might not be a bad idea to put some neat things down in here. So why don't we just take a moment and fill up some of this space with, I don't know, how stupid would it be to just fill this up with frogs? Might actually be kind of fun. just one of those weird, dumb things that, you know, people just do because they can. So yeah, how about some wooden paths for frog statues over here? I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll do one of these numbers, just kind of, you know, have this go around, stick a bunch of frog statues down in here. So those of you who like the frog statues, congratulations. Those of you who somehow hate them, sorry, but I'm not that sorry. Put a couple contemplation spots down here. Yeah, contemplate the frog, and then while you're here, get scratched. I don't know. We got to give these guys something to do. Put one of these weird little places down here. Maybe a detailer would not be a bad idea either. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do Gary down here. That's fine. And then right here in the middle would not be a bad place for a brazier right there. There you go. So you got your cave of the frog kind of thing. Yeah, don't read too much into what they're doing down there. So we're gonna move on and come back over to this area because I do think it would be fun. We still have housing that's paused over here. I'm gonna keep this paused for a little bit because I would like to try and keep the population growth somewhat sustainable. But I think it would be nice for this area to have some sort of irrigation in place, and I don't know how reasonable that's going to be on top of a plateau like this, because we have bad water coming in. I know it's in the middle of the night, so you can't really see it. But right now, none of this is irrigated. We could, if we really wanted to, put in some sort of a pool over here, maybe do a tiny bit of terraforming. I don't think that would be a terrible idea. Thank you, lag. It's not really what I wanted to put in here. But if we wanted to do something, we have so much water. Like, we're never going to run out of water. It's never going to be a problem. So, in the interest of actually, you know, having something to look at over here, if we were to just kind of fill this in just a tiny bit and irrigate down here. I don't think that would be a bad choice. We have the ability to do something kind of not completely stupid looking in here. Yeah, I just have to figure out a decent spot to stick this. I don't want to do any sort of plumbing underground or whatever. I don't think we really have the time or the patience for that, to be perfectly honest with you. So, if I put in a spiral staircase here... No, I still have my... I do. I have my wooden paths without railings. So what I can do here... Thank you, lag. Get that connected over there so they can just fill this in. Obviously, we have to have dirt trucked in. By trucked in, I mean actually delivered by Beavers, because we can't actually do trucks in this game. As long as they can get... Oh, see, it's already dispensing water, and I should have had this done first. Oh, well. That's the way she goes. I suppose I should just put this in here, and they'll... They'll get to work on that in due time. But that's going to make this area a little bit greener. As far as over here, when this is actually green from all of the water coming out during a temperate cycle, then I guess this does look a little bit green. But this is going to be completely brown, gray, whatever color you want to call this, unless we were to do something else. So here's my idea. What if we were to create a little bit of a moat kind of around here? And I guess I need to be careful with how I stick this in, because I don't want to flood anything that shouldn't be flooded. But if I were to do... Yeah, see, that's going to be still doing its thing. They've got to be able to come in here and do all that. I've got the dirt. But if I were to just blast this out, and instead of, you know, really worrying about it too much, I take this and then I put a water dump, then it wouldn't be really super irrigated, but it would be a little irrigated. And that's not a bad thing. Now, I could make this a 3x3 over here. Let's do that. Let's do that. We'll do 3x3s, and then I'll just have to have this come up like so to keep that filled in. That actually doesn't look too bad. Just like that. Add a little bit of visual interest what's going on over here. And I believe, yeah, they're going to come in here and do that probably after they finish putting all of that in. I just want to make this area look a little bit less dumb, if that even makes sense. We don't need to have these staircases up here anymore. We probably don't need the ladders either. I'm going to turn on one of these lodges. Get them over here to take care of that. Come back to that in a little bit. Did we get all of this nasty water over here shoved out? It seems like that is the case. Alright. Now we do have the option to kind of block off access to this if we really felt like it, to try and keep more water in here during droughts and bad tides. But I don't know that it's really worth doing that with the somewhat limited amount of time that I feel like we should still be spending on this. Let's blast this out. I know it's not super symmetrical, but I don't want to flood these. So what happens now is we put the... Oh, that was kind of dumb. I didn't need to blow that up. Alright. Let's just quietly put that back in and pretend nothing bad happened. But that should add a little bit more interest to this area over here. And there's some people who are like, hey, this is ugly. Like, okay, sure. I'm not going to disagree with you, but that's the access to the building that I have available. Alright, I'm just going to turn that on. It should be fine. And having 36 beaver children against 265 adults probably would not be the worst thing ever. But that's going to make this area look a little bit better. We can maybe do a little bit more decoration, but I don't know that it's, strictly speaking, going to be necessary. So let's take this out. I do still have a big project I want to do today, but I would be a little irritated with myself if I didn't do anything to make this area look just a tiny, tiny bit better. You know, because we already have the ability to do it. Might as well do it, right? Let's just get these out of here. Don't need to wait for it. I should probably leave that staircase there in case we want to do something with it later. They still working on that. They are. Yeah, but see, look how immediately just how much better this looks with everything green. I think, personally, that is a big, big improvement. So, what else is left to do? Well, we talked last episode and other episodes about putting this giant 60-length bridge in. And we also talked about how funny it would be if I just built half a bridge. And it seems like it's going to let me do this. And then somebody in the comments had just an absolutely fantastic idea. And that was, what if you built 4 segments of the bridge, half segments, and then in the center put something else. You have like a plus sign shaped bridge. And you know what? I thought that was one of the best, most hilarious ideas I had ever heard, and I really want to do it. But I don't know that I could reasonably do that on this map without, you know, making stuff look terrible. So, I don't know. But then somebody said, hey, can you expand the bridge by putting overhangs on it? And then I got to thinking, and you know what? It probably wouldn't be impossible, and it turns out we actually can. Not in every square, but some of these would allow us to build on. Now, I'm not going to do it because this is, honestly, it's completely ridiculous. But you guys asked, and I decided I would oblige you. Now, this bridge cannot be split in half, which is unfortunate. And they almost started constructing it. So, for me to honor what I said I was going to do, I will have to place the 60-length bridge somewhere on the map, and then probably put housing inside of it. Now, if I were to put this right here, for example, is this going to play nice with me? It probably isn't. Now I have to click on this. Height-wise, the bridge deck is actually above the water line. So, if I were going to do something a little bit kind of dumb, this wouldn't be the worst place to do it. I kind of want to, just because there's literally no reason not to outside of just, you know, the basic perception of shame that most humans come equipped with standard at the factory that I guess I never got. But if we were to do this, I'd want to tie it into something else on either end. But I'm not really sure how that would work. If I come in over here with another 60 length, like there's basically nowhere else I can do this on this entire map without doing tremendous, stop saying tremendous, alterations to terrain. Which reminds me, somebody asked, where is this? Somebody asked, can you bury the bridge pylons at the end? And that is kind of what I did here. I did lower this down. It's not really buried, but the ground was higher here before is what I'm trying to get at. So that I felt like was fine. I don't know that I could do something else with this outside of that. So I'm going to have them build this, and it's going to look ridiculous. But I think it's going to be fun. So if you will humor me in my incredible stupidity for just a moment, I'm going to put a walkway entrance here, and then I'm going to have this come down majestically on a decorative staircase. Except not actually, probably, because now I have to have this come down this way. Or else it's going to look completely stupid. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably going to be the only real way to do this. Let's have that come that way, come down this way. And then, they have to be able to actually construct this, and then from inside the first housing unit I'm going to place on this, then they can finish the rest. We're going to fill this with housing just because I said it would be really, really funny. And enough of you thought that would be fun. I feel like that would be a worthwhile expenditure of our time. Now that's going to have to go there. It's going to have to go there. Nope, not there. Come on. And wooden path come out to here. They should be able to build the entire bridge staying on this tile, I think is how that works. Unless I have to be able to get to the other side. We will see what happens, but this is not a very expensive bridge. It's just big. So let's get them to hopefully get started on this, because I need to put a bunch of housing on this thing, and there's certain places that are going to be more tolerant of that on this bridge than others. So I think what's going to make the most sense is if I have these 2x2 lodges, and then just build them facing each other. Now, some of them in the middle we could probably stack to get the huge ones in there. But I've got some other ideas that might be a little, just a tiny, tiny bit more palatable than having a bunch of those in there. So, let's see. It says it's too far from a district. Oh, they haven't finished this yet. All right. I really didn't want to time-lapse this, but I'm probably going to have to. So, I guess what we'll have to do is wait until they get that taken care of, just a short time lapse, and then I'll explain exactly what I'm doing with the bridge once they have finished. So, I guess that answers that question. All right. So now I kind of feel like I should try to do the four-way thing. If we knew that was going to be how that was going to end up. I don't really have a better spot to yeah, see, that wouldn't even be able to fit there. Okay. Yeah, there's not really a great spot on this map to do that. Well, we're going to have to keep this in mind for... Uh-oh. Oh, no, I didn't delete it. Good. I was about to say, we're going to have a problem. No. So what is going to happen now is I'm going to have to get these guys on top of here. We're going to have to see if I can get this built from up top, or if I'm going to have to send somebody in from the way far side. So, I hope they can get this in here before the end of the day. I know it's kind of far away and I don't have a two-way connection or anything. But now I'm just so curious. I am so curious to see if they can actually get this put in place without me having to go over there. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in these regular 2x2 lodges. And then we also have these double lodges that we could possibly put in the middle segments. They don't fit until you get to about... oh, there's also a pathway there. I guess I could show you on this side. Yeah, they don't fit until you cross this little beam right there. So we could do that in the middle. Put the doubles in. They sleep 6 each. These sleep 3. And I told you I wanted to be somewhere between 300 and 500 beavers by the end of this. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But in terms of putting other things on top, it is only 2 blocks wide. So unless we are able to figure something out to support something, even just 1 or 2 segments to the outside and the middle, I don't think we're going to be able to get on top of these in any manner that's going to allow us to put, say, rooftop terraces in place, because those have the side entrance. And I can't build these sideways because well, I'm not going to be able to support for 2 blocks side by side going out at all. So recreation things on this bridge are probably going to have to be limited to contemplation spots, scratchers, and detailers, depending on how I can put those in. We will see. I've got some ideas. It might be a monstrosity. Well, it's definitely going to be a monstrosity, but it might be interesting. Okay, it seems like they're not actually going to be able to build this unless they have access to the base. So that is, oh, hey, there's a cavern under here I didn't do anything with. Oh, a little late for that. I don't like this. So now I'm going to have to send somebody way down here. Well, we already have wet beavers in a way that is annoying, so why don't we just keep that going here? Just send them down here all the way. Then I just have to give them passageway all the way over here where they can reach the base, and that should be fine. We are going to do an investigation about the wet fur after we finished all this nonsense. I just have to be able to, you know, actually get in here. So, what are we going to attach to the bridge? Well, that's a very good question. This just has to have access over to this area. I do want it to look slightly better than this. And what we could do is take these 6x1 overhangs and just build a few of those coming in over this way. That's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. If I put one here, then I put one here, that's going to get me to the midpoint of that. And I think that's probably about the best way to do it. Just have this come out from here and here, and then butt in. But 6 is only going to get us to the middle, so I'm probably going to instead end up with, let's say, 4, and then... Oh, okay, that's actually not that bad. I could put a put another 4 here. I could put a 3 in the middle, and then have that be a 4. That is probably going to be best to just slightly go a little further. Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll have this connect here, I believe. So they're going to take care of that. See, I really should have checked this out before I hit record. And I just got all these beavers coming in here doing all this construction. It's like, all right, well, now what? Because we have to wait. That's fine. But this having direct access in here is probably going to be our best shot. Let's go for the 2x1 overhang there. Just keep things looking nice. And then we will go from there. But since we already have this here, before I go into yet another time lapse, I'm going to remove these pathways. And I'm going to start the process with a lodge set right here. Start the process of getting this stuck in here. So that has to go that way. I'm going to hit the flip button. That has to go that way as soon as I remember how to use my keyboard. And then if I am correct, that gets me to the beam that I have to be past to use the double height. I was wrong. Okay, well that's certainly not the first time that's happened. Put that there, and then actually, because these can share walls... Oh, you know what? This is actually probably the best possible option that we could have here. Can I? No. I cannot. So this doesn't need to have a doorway on this side unless it's going to give me... No, it's not going to. Alright, so then that does not need to be a double lodge. That can be another single. And then I can flip this next one into a double lodge, because I know I can build on top of that. Just those two. So, what if... Okay, no, the frog doesn't fit. Alright, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. I will just put this double lodge in here if I can put... Yes, I can put a scratcher and I can put a contemplation spot. So what we'll do is we'll put 2 scratchers in. And then I'll have that right there. I really hope this doesn't crash the game. That'll give them access to that from inside. I know they say they can't get into it. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. Don't worry. I just need them to be able to actually, you know, construct that, and that's just about done. There we go. So, where's my doorway there? I guess I don't have to have them all like that. So this is the... Yeah, that's the middle there. That's going to be fine. As long as I can build all this stuff from inside, then I don't think it's going to be an issue. But what I will do... Let's do that, and then I suppose... Just bring this out right across. And then I can put one more here, and that's going to be flip-flopped, unless that's not how I did it. No, that is how I did it. Is that where the entrance is? Thrilling content you can only find right here. So that has to come out to the edge, which means that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, there, and there. So how many beavers can live in this abomination? Well, I don't know. But we're going to find out. And I think it's going to be pretty funny. Now that this is taken care of, I can get rid of this pathway. And get rid of that. And get rid of... Okay, I should get rid of that. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. Then I can get rid of that. And then I can get rid of that. And then I can stop saying that. And then, if I am very careful, should be good to go. So just put those in there. Fill this in. Come on, lag. 4, get the 3 here. And then I think once they build those, just get this popped in like so, and then I think I can put in a slightly better spiral staircase. But I'm going to let them do what they got to do to get these things put in place. It's just easier. We've got 50 beavers with wet fur. Yikes. Well, that's okay, because I have 61 who aren't even doing anything. And somehow 5 who are homeless, because that makes sense. I don't even know how that happens, unless I manage to disconnect a housing unit that I forgot was supposed to be disconnected. I don't know, man. But I think for now this is fine. Let's get this out of here. Boy, this is lagging something fierce, isn't it? I say as I look down at my 113 FPS. Really, I think sometimes I expect way too much out of this game. Well, that's okay. Let's put that 4x1 right there. And you know what? Since we're already here, let's just make this look slightly better. We'll give this a wooden path boulevard here, and have that go straight in. Then we can line this with the decorations. That might look good. Might look nice. Put in some. Ooh yeah. Put in some lanterns. Depending on what I want to stick in here, let's just see. Okay, I don't hate that. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So you got lanterns there. Depending on how we wanted to do this, let's actually let's revisit this. Let's not put those there. Let's try to line this up, because I know this is 7 here, so it's 14. It's not going to be evenly divisible by any odd numbers, except 7. So I suppose if I go just straight on the... Hello, lag. Straight on the edge, right here. It's probably about as good as we're going to get. You know what beavers love. That's right, it's indoctrination. So let's put some busts down. Put some of these things in. And then I guess we can just kind of create a pattern that kind of repeats here, huh? Why not? We could also do beaver statues right here in the middle, because why not? And then how about some benches just right here like that? It's scenic. It's stupid, but it's scenic. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So here is where I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustment. Let's say. Let's take these 2 out. Then I think I can manage to get this to come down into here. This is not going to be wet at any point in time. Wait a second. There's a metal platform. There's a single metal platform that'll match much more nicely with all of these. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So triple speed comes in there. I'll just have this continue along this way, and then it'll come down one more And I guess spiral staircase come in like this probably would be fine. Okay, of course I can't put that there. That's fine. It goes down, that'll come down here. Okay, that'll work. I'll just need to slightly adjust this, depending on how we wanted to conduct ourselves here. Alright, so that's going to go down there. That's going to go down there after I rotate. That's going to go down there. Okay, so that's a little bit better to get in here. And I suppose the construction of this ridiculous housing abomination is going to just need to be, well, you already know. It's going to need to be time-lapsed. So, that's what we're going to do. And I don't know how many housing units it's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't even know what I'm going to put on top of it. But I think we can do something slightly interesting with the walkways, the modularity of all the entrances and everything, and put a few things on and around it. That might make this an actual worthy project instead of just, hey, this sounds really dumb, can you do that? And then me thinking that it would be hilarious and wanting to try. So, we'll see what happens. We'll let them take care of what they got to take care of. Hopefully it isn't too long of a time lapse, and I'll talk to you in just a moment. So as you've probably seen, something very stupid has happened, in which I have forgotten the order of operations for constructing buildings. So I had to tear down a whole bunch of stuff, rebuild it in a specific flipped order, and then I get to the middle of the bridge, or the section with the double high houses, and I realize I can't actually build outside of that from inside of it, because there's nowhere for the beavers to stand, even though it has the entrance on that second floor. So then I have to build this bridge monstrosity outside of the bridge to get into the bridge, and then build on top of the bridge something else for them to stand on so they can then build the rest of the bridge. It's a whole thing. But they're going to get the rest of that taken care of, hopefully, if they can do that fast enough. And then once I can get that support structure for the support structure in place, then they can stand on top of the housing from inside the housing, and then they can just build everything else, and nothing bad will ever happen ever again in the construction of the bridge. And if you hear me talking again in another 5 seconds without it being, you know, the end of the time lapse, then you'll know that something bad has happened, and then I have to address that. But for now, I think we're fine. I'll talk to you in just a little bit, hopefully, outside of the time lapse. Alright, finally, after I don't even know how long in real life, we have housing on as much of the bridge as I can actually build it without doing some other nonsense. And a lot of these are occupied now, because it ended up working out pretty nicely to get those done in stages. But now what we have to deal with is the fact that the beavers who live in this lodge are 229 tiles away from the district center. So what's going to have to happen is on this side, we're probably going to want to create some sort of connection to tubeways, which we do have running all the way out to here that are still connected to everything. And we also have them on this side going all the way around. These are... yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, so let's do tubeway tunnel all the way around the outside, so on and so forth. Just to create our little outer ring. And then what we're going to need to do is get some sort of something built on this end. But while they're working on getting those tubeways completed over there, let's talk a little bit more about what happened during that time lapse, because it probably had to be pretty fast because of the amount of time I sat here waiting. I severely miscalculated how they were going to be able to get on top of this, and this walkway entrance ended up not being enough, so I had to put a walkway behind it, which meant I had to get in from the side in a different spot, and then they could finally start walking on the top here. But then, because of the crossbar, or whatever you want to call it right here, they couldn't get down, so I had to have them build all of this from the end in. Anyway, it was a whole thing, and honestly, this is pretty ridiculous, and I should not have done it. But it's fun, right? So that makes it a slightly less stupid thing. So what we're going to need to do here is get this connected, and the 6x's don't quite reach. So I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to make some very slight terrain modifications here. Just so long as I can get this done in a way that's not going to be completely ridiculous. I'm thinking it's just going to make more sense to just get rid of all of that. Push this out one more make things look just a tiny bit less ridiculous. Get that popped in there. This, I mainly just need to get this within enough range where it's not going to be stupid. So I need to go one more. One more, and that is probably going to be fine. So just building this out a tiny, tiny bit more. Make that look that much better. Let's bring this in that side, bring that in that side. Bring that in like that. And that should be okay. I just have to be able to get some beavers in here to do it. That's not going to be a big deal. That gets us more or less exactly what I was doing here, except without that weird thing on the end. And then, because this is, in any given scenario, going to be flooded, I'll continue, when this comes over this way, bridging this over into an expanded area on this side that could actually be accessible. And that's going to require that I decide, I guess, this tile right here, what's this? That's 23. So when this gets to 23, I'm going to have this come up. That is 23. I'm going to have it not go straight up. I'm going to have it come out right here until it gets to... Actually, maybe right here would be a nice place for that to go. Let's go, instead of here, let's go there. And that is going to bring me, I think, to right about where I dragged that out. Nah, okay. That's fine. They'll be able to get up here pretty easily. And then what I will do is I will turn this right here into a normal tunnel. And then I will bury a tiny tubeway station in there. Just so there's an access point coming straight out. And then that is going to result in a bunch of these trees being removed. I can't remove the scrap metal because that has to be actually plucked out of the ground. But I can remove a bunch of the regular old trees that are down here. Clean this up just a tiny bit. And then we can put in some sort of food storage slash liquid storage slash accessibility to the tubeways on this end and make this really ridiculous, kind of like, why in the world would you ever build this thing, just a tiny bit less ridiculous. And I am going to have to put these scratchers back in place. Well, I never had them on that side. We'll need railings, so it's nice and safe. And on this side is what I had taken out. Because, well, I had to remove things because I made poor calculations. Imagine that. So on top of here, I don't know that I want to have a path with a railing going the entire way. But I needed to have some sort of way for them to get around here. So what I'm going to attempt to do... Yeah, I think I can move this back one. The reason the walkway has to exist is because the walkway entrance that I placed was not actually connected to anything because this is a balcony. And I think I should be able to... Yeah, I can put this right here. I can put that walkway entrance on that side. And then the same on this side. And then what that's going to allow me to do is actually have the wooden pathway go all the way around. And then each of these tiles can be either a storage or some sort of well-being thing that will fit, or a decoration. Monuments. Okay, that one wouldn't fit, but in theory, the Flame of Unity probably could. Let's give that a shot real quick, just so I can, you know, rest knowing that I tried it. Oh, wow. Well, now we have to do it. Now we have to do it. Is it going to let me put this here? Oh, man. No, it will not. It's only in the center. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? Can I put the labor monument there? I cannot. Okay, so it looks like it's one or the other right in the middle. Oh, I could also... I could do that. I could probably put a... yeah, I could put a Flame of Unity probably in the exact center of this. Let's give this a shot. Let's give this a shot. Oh. This is a symmetrical four-sided, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, boy. I love it when stupid things happen. First, I have to get this walkway entrance built so I can actually remove the middle. That, friends, I think is possibly the most perfect, stupid, ridiculous thing I could ever hope to put in the center of this thing. Oh, man. You remember when I wanted to end this series after episode, like, 24? I'm so glad that didn't happen. Because now I can do stupid garbage like this. Oh, boy. What am I doing with my life? Where now I'm sitting here on a Friday night at 9:39 p.m. laughing maniacally at sticking a monument in the middle of a crazy, ridiculously huge modded asset in a game. I'm 34 years old. Okay. A little bit of whimsy never hurt anybody. At least not that bad. They're going to get that taken care of. I probably should prioritize these. Just make sure this can actually get started before everyone forgets about it. And I probably need to have... They're never going to reach this. I don't need to worry about putting this in. As long as I got all of those, I did. Okay, so we're not going to have to worry about it. And see, look at all this. All these guys they're so thirsty, they're so hungry. Also, we have 434 beavers now, by the way. Still sitting at just under 10% are children. I think that's pretty good, at least for the game here. We definitely need to plant more bell peppers. Well, bell peppers and tomatoes, so I probably should put a farm somewhere. Well, that might actually not be a bad thing to stick on this side. Let's humor ourselves here. Put a another little walkway right here. I'll just have a very simple... Oh, I forgot these were strange shaped farms. Let's go right here. Wooden path with no railings, so we die like real men. Put this in here. And I said I needed tomatoes and bell peppers. Well, why don't we... So now I have to think about this. Yeah, I'll just do one of these. I hope the bad water isn't going to cause issues for us here. Find out, I suppose. We probably don't need to have all of this either. Oh, of course they can't reach this. Now, who was I to expect them to be able to actually, do something with this? All right. I'm going to have to connect this so they can actually construct that so they can get back out here, because I don't really intend to leave this in place either. Even though there is direct tubeway access, we also have it right there. It just does not need to be a thing we're worried about. Okay, so planks are going to go in there. That should be okay. Yeah, they're going to get that finished. I already planted my... What are these? I already forgot. Sheesh. Those tomatoes? Yeah, I think so. Bell peppers. Yep. I guessed correctly. I don't know how much, actual help this is going to be long term. But I figured it was worth doing. Now, there's a very good chance this is not going to stay irrigated because this isn't going to be wet anymore, but I know this here should irrigate to about right here. We'll see what happens. I left this empty so that I could put in a storage for raw materials, but on second thought, I don't think I need to worry about it. So that is what I will do, is I'll just have this here. And, oh, do I want to have those alternate in the front of this? Maybe I do. Why not, right? Something, something, no rule that says the dog can't play basketball. Okay. So that's in there. That means I don't need to have this anymore. Yeah, the game is actually starting to lag pretty severely at this point. Wait a second. Oh! This farmhouse over here is already kind of in range. I should connect these. But I don't have water going in here. This is how I get myself in trouble, is I come up with these ideas and I think, you know what, that sounds really fun, and then I get into it and I'm like, oh, okay. This is actually going to be substantially involved, and I said I was going to be completely finished with this playthrough a long time ago. It's fine. So, that's going to go there. So now what's going to happen is, after the lag's all finished, I'm going to have this come out. No, not like that. If that is in the center of... Not quite. This episode's probably over an hour at this point. Oh well. We'll get it figured out. So this will help keep things all irrigated. Maybe not entirely perfectly, but... tell you what, if we're gonna go... We're gonna go so far to actually do this, then we need to do it right. So, now the fun part's gonna be, how in the world do we get somebody in here? Well, the easy answer is... ladder. And then we come and mess with that later, or I forget about it, we never touch it again. One of those two things. Okay, that's gonna come out here. This does not need to be a thing. I'll leave this in here for right now, but it will probably go away. So that is... Wait, is that actually bell pepper? It is. Good. There. That whole thing. Then the rest of these get to be tomato. Alright. I think I can feel decently satisfied with that. Okay, this is now ready to be turned into a tiny two-way station. And then that will give me access here. And then they can get rid of that, and then at some point I can get that situated. I think that should be within range of most stuff. Most hilarious monument placement ever is complete. How about some labor monuments facing the ends of the bridge? There you go. Does it cover everybody? No, it does not. Is it still hilarious? Yes, it is. And I think we can be pretty okay with that. Now, they're still doing detonating over here. I imagine this is going to be kind of an annoying process. So we'll check back in on that maybe a little bit later. Friends, you're never going to guess what time it is again. That's right, it's time-lapse time. It's like, what, the 5th one of this episode? It's fine. I just got to get this stuff cleared out, and I know I'm not going to waste your time by doing it in real time, so we'll get that taken care of, and then I'm probably going to be out of time for this episode. Then I guess we'll kind of plan out what we'll do in the next one, which is probably going to be the finale. Episode 30 is probably a pretty good place to round it out. We'll talk in a little bit. Alright, so this is about as done as it's going to be for a little bit. Let's do just a few more things and then call it for today. The housing bridge, in terms of, you know, being a bridge that has housing on it, is functionally complete. There's still plenty of other things we could and maybe should do to, well, complete it. But I think for right now this is going to be good enough. Let's just get rid of those piles of rubble. We could put some more stuff on the top here, but I kind of don't have very many ideas at the moment. I just want to make sure that I've got these paths cleaned up so I don't have to worry about that later. That is going to be able to go away, and now that is still happily connected. Everything's good to go. Now we have this area over here where I said we're going to put in some food and water storage. Now some of this, depending on how we want to play our cards, could be buried. We also don't have to have all of the food absolutely everywhere. It just would be helpful if they had access to something. So I think maybe it would be better for us to put a couple of tanks for liquids over here instead. We can bury those. That would definitely be a simple task. And as long as it's just like, I don't know, water and maybe an underground warehouse for some sort of other food or something, that's probably the easiest way to go about doing all of this. I just don't want there to be a huge discrepancy in the well-being between the beavers that live here and the beavers that live here, and the beavers that live here, so on and so forth. This area down here is about to need a path extension, and that will help. That won't get them all the way to the center here, but it's going to be better than nothing. Now, when we get out to here, we don't have to have this be double wide anymore. I just want there to be some sort of relatively easy way for them to get across here without it being a whole thing. So what I will do is, come on, overhang this. Let's do wooden path, I guess with railings, because this is technically dangerous. And we put this in here so we can have a direct connection all the way to the outside. And this is actually just about complete. I know we're not really using this over here. We probably could have if we'd planned just a tiny bit better. Had some sort of something to go all the way around the entire outside. I don't think we need to worry about it. So this obviously should be a priority. That will be the priority I will assign to it. That rebel can go away. We don't need to worry about rebel probably ever for the rest of this playthrough, which may only be one more episode. I don't know. But this is where I think I'm going to have to leave this, because this recording is now like 2 hours long. And these other series that aren't water beavers don't tend to do well when the videos are obscenely long. So I do appreciate you guys watching this, give me ideas and all that fun stuff, because I was ready to give up on this about 5 to 10 episodes ago, and you guys said, no, keep going, and we've done some cool stuff. We've had some pretty ridiculous ideas, including the housing on the bridge, and I think that's a really fun thing, and I'm glad we tried it. So, of course, you already know the deal. Beard boosters subsidize all these things, so I don't have to worry about the algorithm quite so much. You can just kind of, do what we want to do, even if it's kind of weird, kind of dumb. It's fun. And those folks make it possible, so I always want to make sure I acknowledge them and their contributions to the channel. And, of course, if you're not on that list, that doesn't mean that you're not valuable as well. I'm very, very glad we get to spend this time with each other, even if it is a little silly sometimes. I hope whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon for what it's probably going to be the finale to this series, and then we'll get back into some of the other things as well. I know we do still have technically 3 other series that we haven't finished yet. So that's fun. But I've got some neat stuff in the works for after we've got everything all wrapped up. I think you guys are going to like it. I might put out a poll so you guys can vote for what you want to see first. But yeah, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.